spoilers ahead. You have been warned, my pretties.
If you're looking for the strongest katana build in the DLC that not only dishes out insane damage of over 20k damage per skill use, but can also tank and lifesteal most HP lost while attacking, meaning you're gonna rarely die, then you've come to the right video. I'm Project and welcome to my undead samurai. I am spoiling Mesmer early since I killed Hippo and he's dead, so I can't have clips of him anymore, but other latest endgame bosses will be at the end of the video to keep spoilers as low as possible, I guess. And of course, we always have the Malenia test for base game damage, and if you land clean on her with this insane Ash of War we're going to use, you're going to chunk off half her HP and knock her back on the final hit. Insane. And even more insane is if you're a Mimic enjoyer, he does the same thing you do, and you guys go double fang like Kiba and Akamaru from Naruto, so super fun. But if you enjoyed the build video today, make sure to give the video a like, 700 likes, and I'll start working on the next video, which won't be bleed this time, I swear. So, with that out of the way, let's begin. So before getting into stats, let's just go over the weapon and what changed from the vampire build. First off, our main weapon is now the Great Katana. Remember when some of you guys said the Great Katana felt weak? Well, you're gonna change your mind after this, because it is one of the few weapon types that can fit this new broken Ash of War, which is the Spinning Gravity Thrust, which does a spiral thrust twice if you hit this skill again at the end of the first animation. So not only can it proc bleed if you infuse it with bleed, but also with Swaddling Cloth and other damage boost talismans, and with Malenia's rune, you're going to heal back most if not all your lost HP, making you nearly unkillable. And it even has hyper armor while you're in mid-air, so it is the perfect skill for the vampire build as an upgrade for the katana. However, it is not endure, so you are going to take more damage, but you're also going to do more damage than the other options, and all you need to do is press L2. But you get this skill from beating Commander Gaius and picking his sword lance from his remembrance, which you can take off for some reason. But obviously beating him is pretty hard. However, with my normal vampire build with the double serpent swords, you can easily beat him. So you can make that build, beat the pig, and then transition to this build smoothly. Now in the description it states it only works with great swords and colossal swords, but luckily Great Katana qualifies, and it's the only weapon, aside I guess the Flamberge, that has innate bleed. Meaning we can actually go occult scaling to scale both bleed and damage, unlike any other option. But for the stats, you want 59 vigor, 15 mind, 26 endurance to fit multiple weapons all at once, 14 strength for the min requirements, 13 dex, which becomes 18 with Millicents to actually wield the katana, and then 25 faith for Golden Vow, and 70 whopping arcane. Now I will show a level 200 option toward the end of the video, so stick around for that, but it is going to use a totally different weapon. But yeah, Great Katana, great weapon, just got better. I added backhand blades and either claws or beast claws as fast alternatives, because obviously the katana is pretty slow, but backhand blades with blind spot or swift slash are insane in PvP, but also in PvE they're pretty strong. But unfortunately the backhand blades don't come with bleed naturally, so you're going to have to put the bleed infusion. But for the raptor claws, you want endure, just like my vampire build, which lets you stand and bang just like the Great Katana, which is still nearly as OP as the new setup I will say. And for beast claws, you want the base Ash of War since it's very strong versus humans. And for the left hand, since the katana is light, we still can have Serpent God's Curve Sword, which gives you life whenever anything dies in your vicinity. But this time, however, I added Shriek of Sorrow. Like I said in my Chicken Nugget build, Shriek of Sorrow is a crazy damage boost, gradually increasing your damage as your life decreases. Up to, I think, about 30%, which is freaking huge. And we can use it in our left hand, two-hand it, scream at Miyazaki, gain the buff, which stacks with Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength, and then you're going to two-hand your katana and have 3 buffs going on for huge damage. Which, by the way, all the footage that you're going to see is all done at plus 15 Shadow Tree Blessing. But Shriek of Sorrow is found in the Bellarat dungeon with the Lion Mask guy, and is near the red bowl cut invader to the right of the Hornset enemy after the small private grace, very easy to get to. And of course we have Dragon's Communion Seal from the base game that you want at plus 10, and since we have 70 arcane, all your dragon stuff will hit very hard, which is more so great for PvP than it is for PvE, since obviously the spinning thing is just way better than dragon spells. But for weapon locations, all 3 DLC weapons are found super early. The Great Katana is found in this lake, shortly after the starting grace of the DLC, near an undead dragon, fitting for the undead samurai. And then to the right of the 3 cross grace, here, near a coffin, is the backhand blades, which both of those you can just run and pick up with no combat. And for the beast claws, they are found down here in this forest by beating a hobo to death. Armor, white mask, can't beat it.
Or if you are a true Japanese culture enjoyer, unlike Project, then samurai helm, Okina mask or iron casa, a way more swaggy Ronin cosplay than that overused white mask crap. You are Neo, right poilets?
But now, unfortunately, this spinning attack does not count as a jump attack, so we're going to use the new Rhaksashaashaha set, Rhaksashaashaha. This set gives you roughly 2% damage boost per piece, so a total of 6% damage. But you are going to take more damage. However, from my test, the damage taken seems kind of negligible. So a decent trade-off, and with Shriek of Sorrow, losing health is a positive, and unlike the Spellblade set for mages, this one's actually pretty tanky, giving us 54 poise with the mask that passes that 51 poise mark for PvE. Nice. Well, for this armor set, it's quite the run with Horsey, so I'll show this and the passage to the spinning Ash of War at the very end of the video. Talismans. You have 2 setups. All in on damage, which is what all the footage showcases, or all in on defense, if you want to limit deaths and save those rune arcs from constantly keeping Malenia's rune up. But keep in mind, this build only really survives through Malenia's Great Rune, so you have to have that active through rune arcs, otherwise you can't really tank with Swaddling Cloth alone. So do keep that in mind. If you're looking for a non-Great Rune build, then check out my bonk build instead. But anyways, damage setup. Blood of Exaltation for 20% damage boost when you proc bleed for 30 seconds. Millicent's Prosthesis to save 5 dex and gain consecutive attack damage bonus. And then Alexander's Shard, then Spin to Win as a skill, we gain a 15% damage boost. And lastly, either use Rotten Sword Insignia if you have both it and Millicent's, which you can only get one of those per playthrough unless you trade for it. Otherwise, just go with Swaddling Cloth, which heals you back HP whenever you do a certain amount of attacks. But Swaddling Cloth will let you heal past whatever Malenia's Great Rune doesn't heal, so it's actually still really good regardless. And for the Uber Tank setup, you have Swaddling, Millicent's, and then add Shield Talisman, boosting your damage negation a ton at full life, which you will be a lot, and then some damage negation talismans like Great Shield or some elemental one. And these are all base game talismans, so none are from DLC. And lastly, for Wanderous Physic, you have some options. The constant is the consecutive attack tier, big damage boost, but the second one is like one of 3 choices depending on the boss. The spinning Ash of War's downside is it costs a ton of FP, and I only have 15 mine. So using the blue unlimited FP tier allows you to bypass that downside for the first 30 seconds of a fight, which coincidentally most of my kills are under 30 seconds. So yeah, perfect. But you still take damage, so against something with elemental damage like Mesmer or even the Lion Mask boss when it enters the Thunder mode at half HP, then you want to go with Crimson Whirl tier, which I think is kind of one of the strongest tiers in the game. A lot of people sleep on this, but this will heal you back whenever you're hit by elemental damage, further pushing you to full life and pretty much negating any damage you take. Otherwise, if you're facing a physical boss, then you can go with Stance Break tier to stance break more easily, which I did for Mesmer and Frenzy, or you can also use Crimson Bubble tier to emergency heal at low life, up to you. All strong options, and before you ask, yes, I did test the new HP lifesteal tier, and it sucks balls. It heals too small, so not worth it. Now because I reached 70 arcane, you can use dragon spells at near full power. Unfortunately, the weapon and the spinning thing obviously kind of make these things useless, but having some AoE is great for PvP, so slap on whatever you like, doesn't really matter. But Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength are a must, and things like Blessing's Boon can heal you over time and stack with the other buffs, and you can also throw in Flame Protect Me as well to increase your fire res against fire giants or Mesmer. So that is the 150 katana setup. Now before I mention the level 200 spec, another YouTuber made a video using this skill with a greatsword and bleed, but I tested and Great Katana is straight up better at level 150. But at level 200, greatsword is actually stronger, since you're going to have way more stats and you can invest both into arcane and strength at the same time. But which one you go for depends on which level you want to stop at, but my whole setup is definitely better than his, so yeah, go with my setup and just use the greatsword. I did test the difference between the blood greatsword with the spinning gravity thrust at 54 strength, 23 arcane, and the same exact setup as my katana. The problem is that you don't have enough endurance or stamina load, equip load to actually equip Raptor's Claws along with everything else. So you will lose Raptor's Claws, which I think kind of sucks. So you get about the same exact damage, just a little bit more bleed, right? About 20 more bleed. But you don't really proc that much more often, and you lose a weapon slot. So it is up to you if you want to go for a strength route or arcane route. But yeah, here is the damage test here. These are with no buffs, just like the katana one. But we get up close, and we get 2600 for one spin. And now that compared to my katana build, as you can see, I can equip a lot more weapons due to my weight. And yeah, here's the damage test. Same thing, no buffs. And we get 2607. So pretty much the same exact damage, but like I said, I can equip more items. And yeah, that's the 150 spec. You also have to consider that we also get 70 arcane, so all your dragon spells are going to be enhanced. Whereas if you go for the strength route, at least at 150, you don't have enough arcane to actually deal any damage with the dragon spells. So yeah, that is another advantage to this one over the greatsword for level 150. So now that you know the difference, here's a 200 spec for the greatsword. You can go to 80 strength, but getting to 50 to 55 arcane does give you quite a bit more bleed and enables you to use the dragon spells half decently. So I think that's overall better than reaching 80 strength, which just increases your base damage a bit. But that is my undead samurai emote build. So if you liked the video, spinning thrust that like button. Comment down below which weapon or theme you want me to cover next. I'm thinking of doing more theme-based builds this go around. So maybe fire or lightning next, because I don't know, the Dark Knight twin axes did seem pretty cool. Same with the flame greatsword, so let me know which one you want. DLC bosses are now, and then routes to the armor and Ash of War are going to be at the very end. So hope you guys enjoyed, and subscribe for more Elden Ring epicness.
Walkie-talkie, I'm about to go lucky. People like me, I boom. Sniffer, sniffer, 4-bit, sniffer, sniffer. Honey hair, sniffer, sniffer.